I'm working on this John Deere 110 garden tractor. This is part 18 of a multi-part series. In the last video, I worked on the variable speed drive. John Deere calls it the Variator. There's one more thing I want to work on under the tractor, and that's this little part that bolts on by the footrest. It goes around the secondary drive belt underneath, but I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to be rubbing on one side. I'm going to take that off and rebend it. Maybe I can bolt it to the inside of the frame. That's about how far it's off. There's a weld bead on the back side where the frame's welded together at that seam, so I can't bolt it to the inside. I'm going to have to rebend it. I want to degrease it with a little carburetor cleaner. This part's too thick to bend with pliers, so I'm going to have to use this screw press. First, I want to unbend this corner right here. So I want to squash it like this. This part goes down first so I can stack some junk on it. I want to push down here, but this upper arm's in the way. Maybe I'll put a spacer down here. That part's pretty close to the fixed jaw. I'm going to try this taller piece. This part's touching here, so I'll try this bigger block to change the angle. That's probably going to work. Okay, that moved it over some. Now I want to open up this next corner a little bit, so I need to smash this round bar down into that corner. Maybe I'll lay it down. Don't need that part. I need some different junk to make a bridge. I found two blocks here. They're different sizes, but both the same length. And that's all that matters for this. Now I want to mash that round piece down into the corner. Gotta keep things mostly square. That's close enough. I'm going to raise it up off the bottom so there's room for it to move. That moved it some, maybe a bit too far. This side section is bent. I want to straighten that first. Maybe I can stack some junk in here again. That worked a little bit. I want to go farther. That part looks straight now. If something's not square yet, I'm going to hold it in place on the tractor and see where I want to bend it next. I want the bottom to shift over farther, so I'm going to bend this first angle I worked on. That should do it. Now I want to make that bottom part flat. I'm going to mash this block into the bottom. And at the same time, I can hammer this side arm over so it's closer to vertical. That looks pretty good. I'm going to try that. Okay, that looks good there. It clears the belt on both sides, and it looks like it's supposed to be that shape. I'm going to put this cover back on. I should have done that as part of my last video, but I forgot. I'm going to switch to the air cleaner next. Here's all the parts I need. There's some oily stuff on the edge of this air cleaner. I'll get that with some carburetor cleaner. There's some rust on this part. These small wire brushes are pretty soft, so I think I can damage less paint than if I was using a bigger brush. There's some rust on the inside. This stud's bent up, and it broke the strap that holds it on. I'm gonna smash it back flat. I need to clean the old gasket off next. I need to spray it down with WD-40. That's a little better. Here's a new gasket. It's got an extra hole pattern, but it should work okay. And a new air cleaner element on that. I'll put the decal facing to the left side of the tractor. Now I need to clean up these front vertical parts. They support the hood and the grille. These pieces are made to fit around the frame, so I need to push them on there. They're held on with carriage bolts. I'm putting some lock washers on the bolts where I can barely reach. I won't get my fingers in there to start the nuts the way the frame is made. I'm going to put the nut in the socket so I can start it on the bolt. There's a lot of movement here for adjustment. For now, I'm going to try to square up the bottom edge with the frame. On this side, one of the carriage bolts was missing. I have one here, but I don't have JD stamped on top, so it's not quite as good. If I line up the bottom of this one, it's leaning forward more than the other. I'm going to line this one up with the other side for now. Those will probably need to be adjusted with the hood on there. The front grille is the next thing I'm going to look at. First, I need to clean it. Well, this is all bent up. This is the bottom, and it don't fit in between there. And this is the top. It don't fit either. This is a sandbag. It's a good place to hammer on stuff. This little dent here is the thing I want to work on first. I'm going to use this little hammer to fit down into that rib and try to get it straight. I want to push that rib to one side a little bit. Now I want to concentrate on this upper rib. It's dented in this one place. I need something to fit into that low spot. I'm going to use this body dolly, and I'll hit it with this heavy soft blow hammer. That's pretty good there. I'm going to switch to the bottom. This part is just totally flat. I'm going to try to curve it by supporting the outer edges and hitting it in the middle. That's pretty good. Now I want to hit just that half, but I can't get in there. Okay, that'll work. I'll do the same for the other side. That's pretty good for that part. Now this center section is just pushed in some. That's pretty good there. There's a big crease. I didn't see that before. I need to get closer to that rib. One of these round hammerheads should do it. That got most of it. Now just flatten out the small bumps with this tiny hammer. There's another one a little ways up from that. That looks good. Now I need to straighten out these lower arms. I want those flat with each other. These tips are a little bit distorted. But they're both the same. I'm going to leave them that way. Now the bottom fits in there easily. And if I get below the carburetor, the top fits in there too. The center is a little bit wide, but it'll push in there easily. That latch is okay, but I think it's against the air cleaner. There was a dent in the grill from that touching before. I'm going to have to lean those vertical supports forward a little bit. It looks good though, except that grill is still dirty looking. It's time for the WD-40. That makes it blend in better. I'm going to lean those vertical supports forward so the grill's not touching the air cleaner. That's more like it's supposed to be. There's some movement there because the latch pins are what's holding it. Well, that's as far as I'm going this time, and here's what it looks like. Everything looks like it's supposed to. There's some movement in those lock pins, but I don't think it'll vibrate because it's squeezed in there between those vertical supports. Alright, that's it.